I'm going to strategically leave this plant here for the remainder of the video because I am wearing a skirt and there is a unflattering angle happening. Let's just say that. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Caitlin from Leave Me Alone Plants, and today I am here with my Philodendron Xanadu. Now, I was introduced to this plant as a philodendron, but I believe it was recently reclassified as a Thaumatophyllum. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not, you guys know how it be here. But regardless of what name you know this plant from, either way, super awesome plant, super easy to grow, so keep on watching and I'm going to tell you guys how to keep this guy happy and healthy. So I'm going to start out by bringing this guy a little closer and giving you guys just a look at what these leaves look like. They are super cool. They kind of have that split leaf pattern. And in my opinion, I kind of feel like this guy is the poor man's jungle boogie. I do love the jungle boogie and I would love to get one day. They're not crazy expensive, but they are typically a little bit higher price than I would like to pay. So if you're, I guess, I don't know, cheap like me, then maybe this guy is the plant for you. Now these guys are native to Brazil. Shout out to Brazil, that's where half my coworkers work. But as always, you'll want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about how to care for this plant. So hopping right into the basics. As for light, in many scenarios, you'll see that these plants are going to want to get a bright and direct light, and it's probably the case for them, but I will be completely honest, I actually keep these in, I won't call it a dark location, but it doesn't really get a crazy amount of light. So if you're running out of window space and you just can't, put it super close to the window, it will be okay even with that lower amount of light. As for watering, for me personally, I find that this plant dries out really, really fast. However, to be fair, I do have this in a super, super chunky soil mix, so that could be part of, I won't say problem, but part of the reason why it's drying out so much. Really, as soon as I just like to stick my fingers in there, and once I start to notice that it's kind of dried out on the top couple inches, that's when I go back in with water, and for me that ends up being probably every like 4 to 5-ish days. But with that said, I have missed waterings on this guy for quite a while and it really doesn't throw too much of a tantrum. It seems to tolerate it, so if you run into that problem, it should be fine. Now, one issue that you might start to notice with these plants is if you start to see the leaves either yellowing or kind of browning down at the bottom. I know for me, my first instinct is always like, oh my god, I must have overwatered the plant, I'm totally killing it. But something to keep in mind with these plants is if you start to notice the bottom layer of growth down there having browning and kind of just drying up and crisping up on you, you're actually not doing anything wrong. That is just the complete normal cycle for how this plant grows. And my plant personally is not that mature. I'll bring it closer again for you guys to see. Hopefully I can turn this noise so that you can see down in the pot. It kind of just looks like a normal stem down there. However, as these plants mature, you'll notice that they actually start to get kind of this really cool looking trunk, and it almost looks spotted in a way. If you're familiar with how like a mature Philodendron Xanadu, I believe that's how it's called, looks. I actually have one of those downstairs in my garage that I am rehabbing from the summer, so I don't really know where I'm going with this. I feel like I got off on this rabbit hole. But basically the trunk that these guys get when they are older and more developed look very reminiscent of that Psyllium, and overall I think if you like the Psyllium, this is going to be a really, really good option for you. Now, as for humidity, again, thinking back to Brazil does tend to have pretty humid conditions, and if you kind of search around online, it will say that this plant likes to have humidity. With that said, as always, as you guys know, if you're subscribed here, and if you're not, hit the subscribe button. I live here in Arizona. It's not humid. My house is very dry, and this guy doesn't really seem to mind it at all. He doesn't seem to be throwing any kinds of temper tantrums in terms of browning edges or anything like that. And even when it pops new growth, it seems to pop out really fast. I will say one of the things that drives me crazy about some of my philodendrons here is even if they don't mind the dry humidity in terms of like browning, I do find sometimes they kind of get stuck when their leaves are unfurling, so that can be a little annoying, but I haven't found that with this plant. And just in general, for me at least, this plant is a really, really fast grower. And again, that's with me not giving it a ton of light, not really having too much humidity, so I'm sure if you're giving it a fair amount of light and humidity, it is really going to take off for you. Now, at least at the current moment, mine, at least for me, I feel like looks pretty full. But one thing you might notice about yours or other ones that you see if you're kind of searching around on the internet is these plants can get kind of leggy. And a lot of times if that's the case, it really just isn't getting enough light. So it, will probably continue to still grow in those conditions, but if that leggy look does bother you on these plants, then bumping that up will kind of be your solution to that problem. So as for propagation, I'm not sure if I mentioned it yet in the beginning of this video, but I believe that this is still a trademarked plant, which to be honest is like kind of annoying sometimes, which basically what that means legally is you're not supposed to propagate this. So you can be fine, and it's not going to be this wonderful thing. So unfortunately, if you came here looking how to propagate this plant, this is not going to be the video that teaches you how. I'm sure there are videos that will teach you how on YouTube, and you know, I like to think you guys are pretty smart, so I'm sure you can figure it out on your own if you're dying to, but that's kind of the deal with these plants. I will say the only other thing that I do see is kind of a turnoff for these plants is that they are very poisonous for both animals and for humans. So this is a plant that I would kind of say if you have pets or little children of any age, I don't know what like the appropriate age is that can stop eating plants, or if that happens at any age. But moral of the story is if you have either of those, I would say maybe steer away from this plant because it's not going to be wonderful if somebody eats it. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much everything. Overall, I mean, personally for me, this is one of the easiest plants that I grow. I think it's really great for styling in your house if you want to kind of have something that gives your home a really tropical look and feel without having something that's gigantic like the Solium or, you know, even a Monstera deliciosa. So with that said, I highly recommend getting one of these if you can find one. As always, if you have questions that I did not answer in this video that you were hoping that I was going to address, or if you sadly have a sick plant, then drop it in the comment section down below. I am more than happy to help you out, and I will get to your questions as quickly as I can. If this video was helpful for you, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you enjoyed this video and had a fun time learning about this little plant right here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we come out with these care videos all the time and you wouldn't want to miss out on those. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.